What's up, Taiwan? Good evening. I'm Erika Liu with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan is rolling out new rules for people isolating at home with a mild or asymptomatic COVID infection. That's as the country gradually opens up and moves away from its zero COVID policies. People can now end isolation 10 days after testing positive. They won't need to take a COVID test, but they will need to observe their health for 7 days and avoid some risky activities like going to crowded places. Taiwan has also approved the Moderna vaccine for children between 6 and 11 years old. Now, as cases continue to rise, authorities are also cracking down on people who break quarantine rules. Erika Liu reports.
Children in Taiwan between the ages of 6 and 11 can soon be vaccinated against COVID-19. Over 2 years into the global pandemic, emergency use authorization has been granted to give them half an adult dose of the mRNA vaccine Moderna, requiring 2 shots at least 4 weeks apart.
施打方式或是能不能施打哈，这还要是 ACIP 委员哈来做决定。如果有了一个如果决定是要打的时候，那我们当然要做意愿调查，那还要填写同意书等等工作。
With infection spreading, officials are taking quarantine rules more seriously. New Taipei City has fined a man over $50,000 for going shopping and playing basketball despite being ordered to stay at home after testing positive. It's the highest fine issued by New Taipei since the pandemic began, and the man has been moved to a centralized quarantine facility. Patrick Chen and Erika Liu for TaiwanPlus.
As Russia's invasion of Ukraine nears the 2-month mark, here in Taiwan, demonstrators held a die-in protest, calling for an end to the war. Bing Wang reports.
Dozens of people stretched out on the ground in Liberty Square in the heart of Taiwan's capital of Taipei. In the background, air sirens to simulate what Ukrainians go through every day. It's the latest protest in Taiwan to condemn the now 54-day-long Russian invasion of Ukraine. Alex Kamenko, a Ukrainian in Taipei, said they organized a protest to draw attention to the Bucha massacre, where 400 Ukrainians were reportedly killed by Russian forces.
You know, they're pretty powerful, right? They really show what it's like in some small way, right? The impact on individuals and the horror of the war. And we did our first rally here in Liberty Square Arch, and it's obviously a place of great significance to democracy and to protest, and so it was a perfect location.
Ukraine accused the Russian military of killing civilians as their troops left Bucha. Moscow rejected these accusations and said the killings were staged and any evidence was fake.
I can only describe the mood here as somber. Many Ukrainians at this rally have told stories of the horrors that their families are facing back at home. And you can sense the anger and the frustration and helplessness that many people here are facing, and the reality that they can lose their loved ones at any moment.
Bottom, a Ukrainian living in Taiwan, thanked Taiwan for its support during what has been a devastating time for his country.
We see all your support and we feel it. In 2 weeks after war started, I lost my grandfather. In 2 weeks after, I lost my father, who died bravely defending my country.
People of all nationalities came to the rally in support of Ukraine.
Yeah, and I think it went pretty well today. It's really powerful, and it really drives people into tears because this is something beyond our imagination.
It was heartbreaking, and as people, we stand with liberty and freedom and human rights. It's not why I'm here, but I must be here to stand with Ukraine.
Taiwan has donated around $30 million for Ukraine and its neighboring countries to help Ukrainian refugees. Donations have also come in the form of material goods such as diapers, toilet paper, clothing, and even wheelchairs. The country has also joined in on international sanctions against Russia, but more aid for Ukraine is needed.
So we would encourage the Taiwanese to continue donating, continue supporting. We, through our group, have a lot of different kinds of fundraising projects as well. So that's number one. Number two, I think just coming out and supporting us through these actions, right? It's very important because it spreads the word, it generates more awareness.
Protesters here say they're hopeful the war will end soon, And until it does, demonstrations like these around the world are set to continue, showing Russia that support for Ukraine stretches far beyond its borders. Azaya Zhou and Bing Wang for TaiwanPlus.
Russia's invasion of Ukraine has led to international concern over whether China will attack Taiwan, which it claims as part of its territory. China has increased its military pressure on the island, and while many Taiwanese have long dismissed China's threats as bluff and bluster, the invasion of Ukraine is changing people's minds. Louise Watt reports.
These residents in Taiwan's capital, Taipei, are spending their weekend learning what to do if or when an emergency strikes. There's more interest in such workshops since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Many people here see parallels between Ukraine and Taiwan, which faces threats from its own huge neighbor, China.
我们当然希望战争不要发生这样子，但是也没有办法断言，就是说战争一定不会发生。那我觉得，与其这样子，我就多学一点东西这样子，然后也许到时候可以派得上用场。但希望永远都不要派上用场。
China considers Taiwan as part of its territory and vows to take control of the island with force if necessary. It's a threat that Taiwanese have lived with for decades. But while many have long dismissed China's threats as bluster, some are now changing their views.
之前可能比较没有感觉战争会发生在身边吧，对，那看到这样子的状况，就觉得任何地方都有可能发生。
A recent survey of Taiwanese showed 37% now think it possible that China will invade Taiwan, the highest number since the question was first asked in 2004. But the Taiwan government is keen to ease concerns and has decried fear-mongering, which the premier suggests is coming from China.
我们掌握各种情况，不容有境外势力或有附和者用不实的假信息要来比附援引，做不当来扰乱民心士气。那台湾不同于乌克兰，我们不但在地缘政治上重要，在地理环境上也有200里的海峡区隔。
But it sparked a debate about Taiwan's combat readiness and military capability, and also how civilians should respond. These workshops teaching medical skills are run by Enoch Wu, a former special services soldier and politician.
Taiwan's security is dependent on a ready military, but also a very prepared general public. And so while we call for military reform and a higher sense of urgency on behalf of the military, we also expect we're doing all we can to raise the general public's level of readiness and preparation.
Wu says one thing Taiwan can do is make sure its many emergency shelters are better prepared. Taiwan has more than 100,000 designated air raid shelters, and actually many of them are underground car parks. This 2-floor car park is meant to shelter more than 5,000 people. But there's not much here that would help if war broke out. No first aid kits, food or water, and not much ventilation. The increase in demand for better preparedness saw Wu's April workshops booked up within 2 hours of going online.
那时候我看到泽伦斯基总统他讲说，如果战争来的时候，乌克兰人不会背对着，不会逃跑，他会面对这件事情。那我觉得台湾人应该也要这样。
People here are now taking the threat across the water more seriously, and inspired by Ukraine, they're doing what they can to learn to keep themselves and others safe. Damon Lin and Louise Watt for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. I'm Erika Liu. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, today, we leave you with some images of cherry blossoms in Bonn, Germany. Take care and see you next time.